Welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back, guys. The Discount Property Investors here. Mike Slane and
David Dodge,
your host. And we have a special guest again with us today, one of our favorite guests, Mr. Matt Camp. Matt, how are you?
Great, man. Doing great. Yeah, thanks again for having me. It's a little dreary here in St. Louis, but we're making it work. Excited for the new year to come in.
Yeah, it got cold on us, didn't it?
It was cold.
Yeah, just brutal.
Probably caught up to us.
Yeah. Winter. It was definitely more fall, 50, 60 degrees, and then just overnight before the holidays, winter kicked in. So here we are.
Care, though, they'll be cold. They'll run around outside and do not care whatsoever. So we're making it work.
That's true. Little monsters do not care at all. Ours is running around barefoot in the kitchen, on the tile. She's like, "Your feet cold?" No, you pick her up and her feet are frozen. Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, man, the holidays came and went, and we're looking at New Year's holiday coming, and it'll go before we know it. So today we wanted to chat a little bit, I think, about kind of our predictions or where we see the market headed. The market being the real estate market, both nationally and I would say more locally. Because I think that's what everybody says, is that real estate is always local, right? You have to kind of know your local stuff and dig into your local stuff to really get a foothold in your market. So yeah, we can talk about the national trends and then kind of go into what we see here locally, because I think that's what's most pertinent to you, is to really dig into your local market and figure out where you see it going. So, Dave, we are lucky to be in the Midwest. Matt, you join us here in St. Louis, which is awesome. So we are in a linear market, and that's something that I love about the Midwest because we're not recession-proof. But when you hear about the real estate market, sky is falling and it's crashing, normally they're talking about the coast. They're normally talking about California and New York, and they get to see these really, really fun skyrocketing prices, and they get to have some very terrible crashes as well.
Yeah.
So we are lucky that we somewhat are insulated from that in St. Louis, a Midwestern market. We go up, and we generally go up. We just don't go up as fast, and we do crash, but we crash pretty slow. It's more of a fender bender than totaling out the car like Dave likes to do. Yeah. Dave, so if you didn't know, Dave was in a little car accident. He got taken out, was unable to recover, and
it was almost a month ago. It was on the 7th.
Finally got his new vehicle in though, so he's able to do some more driving for dollars, which I know Matt is happy to hear.
There you go. Yeah,
man, there was 3 cars in that wreck, and the other 2 people are arguing about whose fault it was.
Oh, geez.
And so now the insurance company is like, "Oh yeah, we're going to pay you. Obviously, you're not at fault, but we got to figure out who's to blame here." Like, how long is that going to take? And they're like, "It could take a couple months." Jeez,
it's crazy.
I have 2 car payments for another couple months.
Probably. Oh, you got to pay them both of them?
Yeah, they're paying off the other one, right?
That's crazy.
Oh well, it could be worse. I could have no insurance, right? So.
Exactly. So real estate. Back to real estate, our main topic. I think the market is going to keep inventory is going to keep flying off the shelves. I don't see any slowdown. We've seen a lot of kind of the indicators. They're saying that there's more new construction starts than we've seen since 2006. There are less properties available, and a lot of these things are pointing back towards 2006. This is prior to the 2008 crash that we had experienced. So a lot of new construction. We're seeing very little inventory. What else are we seeing? Things along those lines that just lowest interest rates that we've had, and there's no indication they're going to go up anytime soon, or at least not in the next year or so.
Values are up.
Yeah, and values are going up for, again, part of that reason as well.
See that offer we got last night on gas? I forwarded you guys that email.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just declined it.
Mm-hmm.
But all around, prices are up.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, Dave, what do you think is going to happen, man? I think we're going to keep seeing rising prices, low inventory, and it's just going to be another year of, for investors, anyways, it's going to be difficult to find a true discount on real estate, just because I feel like properties are going to keep climbing, and more sellers are going to be aware of that.
Yeah. Now, I think we're always going to be able to find a discount. However, I agree with you at the same time, right? I think it's going to be harder to find those discounts. The inventory is low already, so I think that just based on that alone, it's gonna make it more difficult for us investors.
I mean, I know, yeah, inventory wise, from a national perspective, it's the lowest it's ever been. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
Wow, is it really the lowest it's ever been? Wow,
That's crazy.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, and I think like especially too, like being in the Midwest, I think that's a great point, Mike. When you bring it up, is like you know, obviously you guys have listeners all over the place, but if you're here in town or nearby, I know the highs aren't as high, the lows aren't as low, so it's one of those things where like you want to be obviously cognizant of everything going on and really understand the overall national trends, but then know that it's going to take a little while to get to us, and that the effects, we're a ripple effect. We're on the, smaller waves that hit us. So, as long as you have the right fundamentals down and you're approaching it the right way, and you're kind of being systematic about it, not just trying to time the market from that perspective, I think you're coming into it with the right mindset. And I think that's the way I would recommend approaching 2021 as well. So,
yeah, I mean, we're not going to do anything differently. I mean, we still have a marketing budget. We're still driving for dollars. We're still cold calling people. We do a little bit of direct mail from time to time. We turned our radio ads off in, I guess it was maybe late October, and we were talking about maybe circling back to trying some new strategies with that come January or maybe even February.
And we're pretty
huge hurry with it, but yeah,
consistent on that as well, though, seasonally. So a lot of times around the holiday seasons, the ad prices go up and there's more people doing it. So we said, we'll back off again. But yeah, I think it's just I think being part of a linear market, it's easier to set yourself up for the long haul and just literally just keep trudging along. Unfortunately, it's not that sexy high and low like we talked about that you hear in the national stuff. I consider them leading indicators. So when we see that there's a crash, that means, hey, maybe we kind of slow down some of our flip activities or get out of those higher dollar, riskier flip activities. Maybe try to get more of our properties refinanced and slow down on the acquisition mode. But until then, it's still, I'd say, foot on the gas.
Yeah. Did they just approve a new stimulus today? I think I saw something this morning.
They're going. Yeah, they're still talking about it. I think it's hitting the Senate or something today. So just gonna wait and see where that goes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think like going into the year, like you said, you've got a couple different marketing channels you can be exploring. I think no matter what, each market's going to be a little bit different. Like you're going to have some markets where just direct mail might respond better than others. You'll have some markets that, your online, your inbound leads will be more effective. You've got, everything from that to literally door knocking to radio to all these different marketing channels. No matter what, I'd say approach it with kind of almost a marketer's mindset of trying out a bunch of different stuff and then making sure you're measuring what's working. So, making sure you have the right calls to action on each of these different marketing channels that you can track and see, oh, this came from the radio ad, or this came from, a Facebook ad, or this came from a direct mail piece, or you can really kind of attribute where these leads are coming from and just adapt accordingly. Because I think each different market's going to have competitors who, various local real estate investors that try different things. And you might be in a market where more people are trying out direct mail, or more people are trying out cold calling, more people are trying out texting, more people are trying out these various things. And where there's less competition, you're going to have more of an ability to win. Like I think within Deal Machine specifically, we built it out just for direct mail pieces to start with, like just to make it really easy to send mailers. And then we added in skip tracing, so that way you could call people and text them. We're going to have that you can look at email as another option within that skip tracing marketing channel. So I think like we want to make it easier for you to kind of diversify your different marketing channels and try out multiple things and see what's working. But in the end, it's about kind of testing and making sure you have the right systems in place to know which tests are working and which aren't.
I agree.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So as far as 2021 goes, I know that. So Matt, your deal machine is national. So obviously, you say you got to kind of trial and error with marketing.
Yeah.
How do you see all this low inventory and all this stuff in the market affecting real estate investors and what their strategy should be and how they would use deal machine or other marketing in their business? I mean, what's the right course right now? I mean, what should we be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I do think like it is getting, like you said, or like we talked about, the inventory is so low that there is a lot of competition out there. It's something where investors will have to step up their game when it comes to lead generation and it comes to doing these marketing activities to bring in deals. So everything we're building out and we're helping people, with is focused on how do they take their lead generation to the next level. I think you've got a couple different options there. You've got increasing the number of marketing channels you're doing is one option. Like you've got, like you talked about, radio, door knocking, all the way to direct mail to texting, calling, like variety of marketing channels that you can test out. So that's one thing you can change, is just doing different marketing channels. Another thing would be to ramp up just the number of leads you're putting into your system. A big part of that would be for us, like we still think that driving for dollars, like from an ROI perspective, best bang for your buck is getting out there and like looking for those hidden gems, those diamonds in the rough that you can't just pull from a list, but that you have to actually physically validate with your eyes and find. So if you're able to drive, and how do you scale that, is hire a driving team to get out there for you and be out there and be deal finders. We make it easy within the Deal Machine app, but just in general, like hiring bird dogs that can get out there and look for deals and be able to point these out to you and build a list for you. So that way you're not just doing it yourself, but you're hiring other people to do it for you. Like that's the way to scale that strategy. That's the way to hit the number of leads you're going to need to hit within 2021, and in a more competitive market that's harder to find inventory like this. So I think diversifying your marketing channels and then just ramping up the number of leads you're doing or that you're hitting is where I'd recommend beginning. And then on the marketing side too, if you can automate as much of that stuff as possible, like if you can, set it and forget it with these, email drip campaigns, or with a campaign through the Deal Machine app. We have the mailers campaigns, like you can set it and forget it with mailers, or, hire out somebody to do cold calling for you, or, these other different things that you can outsource and automate. That's how you're going to be able to hit those lead numbers that you're going to need to hit in order to find deals, just because it is so competitive and there is, the least amount of inventory out there possible, that we've seen.
I like that, man. I think that's good. That's something we haven't done internally, is built out a little, like a driving team, and we should probably start working on that. Matt, can you kind of share some of your successes or how
would you start for that?
About that? Yeah. If I'm not kind of putting you on the spot there, but that's, if you've got any insight in that, I'd love to hear a little bit more about building out a driving team.
So take out notes, take out a pencil here.
Exactly, man.
Basically, there's there's a couple of phases. So you've got like recruiting to begin with, like how do you even find them? Training them up. So how do you get them prepared to go out there and do it? And then managing them. So how do you know where they're going? How do you do that properly? Within Deal Machine, I know how we think about it from a training perspective, like, basically, or a recruiting perspective to start with. Basically, our end goal is to say, okay, how do you find the people who are already out there driving? Like there are just so many different delivery drivers. There's so many different Uber and Lyft and, Instacart and DoorDash and all these different, things in general that people are out there driving constantly. So if you can get in front of those people, that's a great, like, easy sell to start with, is just say, hey, while you're already out there, giving people Uber rides or whatever it might be, in between your rides, drive, look for dollars, look for deals for me. Like, whip out the Deal Machine app, start driving around, taking pictures of a couple different properties, and you can usually get people to tack on a couple hours a week, just starting like that. And that's kind of the lowest hanging fruit that we've seen is kind of looking for drivers like that. They're not as reliable long term, I would say, but it's a great place to start looking for drivers. Also, you'd probably be shocked by if you post on Facebook or just any kind of personal text or whatever it might be to your own network and say, hey, who wants to make a couple extra bucks by driving 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week for me? Like, there are probably people who would be up for that. And maybe if you can pitch them and say, hey, I'll show you how I'm evaluating the deal. I'll show you kind of the ins and outs of what I'm doing when it comes to this actual, analyzing this particular property. You can pitch them that mentoring route. So that way, if they're new to real estate or if they want to get into real estate investing, that's an amazing way for them to learn. Like, that's a valuable experience for them. And plus you're getting deals out of it too. So I'd say, like, to start with, the most casual places to go are just your personal network, pitching it as a mentorship opportunity, and then posting online within various groups on social media or where you see drivers hanging out online. Like, you can search part-time jobs in St. Louis on Facebook and easily find plenty of groups like that where you can start posting about it there. We have plenty of new members too who will literally print out a flyer and put it on their door. So that way, when they have like Amazon drivers dropping off stuff or any driver that comes to their door, just because we're getting so many things delivered nowadays, like, that's a great opportunity to say, hey, if you want to make more part-time, income, like, drive for me a couple hours a week. It's an opportunity to pitch them that way. So I think from a recruiting perspective, you can kind of start there. When you really want to ramp up, you've got our enterprise plan is built for that. So, like, you can do, it's like up to 300 drivers through our enterprise plan. So that actually comes with a landing page. That's a link that pitches the idea of being a driver for you. So you can easily post that online on Indeed or Craigslist or any kind of like job board, and it'll pitch people on the idea of driving in your market up to full time if you're able to support that. So that's kind of our enterprise plan, helps from a recruiting perspective like that. So that's kind of where I'd say to start.
Yeah, so you talked about kind of recruiting. Then you said, what was the next step? Is
bringing them up to speed. So I think, once you've found people like that, I think the training portion, one, we'd highly recommend always having a group of people come in at the same time. So, like, if you can find have 5 people who are interested in driving for you and give all of them the assignment of saying, hey, I'll pay you $20, put in 20 properties into my deal machine, or, write down 20 properties that you find. And, this will be kind of like a trial run, essentially. You'll pretty quickly see who's most motivated to get out there and do this and do it well and put in qualified leads and all that stuff. Like, that'll become pretty obvious where you can pick 1 or 2 drivers out of those 5. So I'd always recommend kind of going into it with a little trial run like that. Outside of that too, the training portion, if you're on our like 7 or 8 videos that are just fed to them that teach them how to drive for dollars, what to look for, for a distressed property, and what really kind of the basics of how to use Deal Machine and how to find great deals for you. So we try to make that really easy for you too through the app. But the idea behind it being like, hey, we want to give it so that all you have to do is just add their email to your team within Deal Machine, and then the app does the rest for you. So I think kind of a combination of a little bit of one-on-one training yourself if you've driven yourself. If you've already used to driving for dollars, and then also giving them a trial run or having Deal Machine train them up for you, I'd say like all those things are going to help set them up for success. So
sweet. And then what about like managing? There's kind of a couple different things. Like you said, some people are just going to fall and aren't going to be motivated. But the ones who are, what's the management best practices and like compensation best practices around what people are doing? What keeps people motivated? Is it paying per lead that they enter, or is it because I don't know if that
that's a great question. How are people that are having success? how are they compensating their drivers? Are they paying them hourly? Are they paying them per lead? Are they bonusing them when they do deals?
Yep.
Right. What's working?
So those are what you just touched on. Those are really like the three factors that we see. Like it's a combination of those things. I think the long-term people who stick around for a long time and see it as a real job, they're usually paid hourly and then have a bonus on top of that of like X per property or per closed property or per closed deal. So they kind of have a performance bonus, but their main compensation is the like how many hours you drive for me. It depends on what state you're in too. You got to be careful on like the laws around, you know, how to compensate bird dogs in general. So make sure to do your research there. I know it's a little more, but I think in general, like if it's a full time, it's somebody who's really committed. I'd say, you know, doing some kind of really consistent hourly pay is really important. If it's more like, hey, I'll, you know, a couple hours a week here and there, doing the pay per property method or pay per closed property. If they're, you know, the pay per closed property, I'd say that's only if you're really pitching that mentorship route with them and you're saying, yeah, I'll show you how I'm doing this. And, you know, if I close one, I'll pay you $1,000 or $500 or whatever it is. Like, I think that route could work if you really have a really good relationship with them. Otherwise, I'd recommend going the hourly and or, you know, per property added route.
So the common theme that I keep hearing over and over is that you should probably be paying these people.
It does work better when you
wake up, everybody.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think definitely you want to pay them for the right stuff, like the quality properties really matters. Like, you know, you don't want to just have them run down the street and take a picture of everything and then say, hey, pay me $100. I put in 100 properties, you know. But if you that's why through the Deal Machine app, we've really built it so that way you can add them as a deal finder within the app, which means they only have access to adding to your list. Then you have to go in and approve the property and start marketing them to yourself. So they can't spend any of your marketing budget. And also at that point, you can really find out, is this a qualified lead or not? And, you know, pay them accordingly, you know, so that way they're doing the right stuff.
Yeah, I like that you have the ability to approve it or not. You know, so once it's added in there, it's not added into all of the campaigns automatically. You know, because again, some of these people that you know you may hire or we may hire, you know, they may not be putting in rock solid leads out the gate. You know, it may take a little bit of training. So the ability to kind of weed through them and say some of these are good and some of them aren't.
Yeah. So the deal finders, then when they go back in, can they see which ones were approved and which ones were rejected or not approved or whatever?
Yeah. And when it comes to managing them too, they can see, you know, in general, you can see like the routes they've driven, properties added versus approved. When you close a deal, you can see which driver that came from to see which drivers are really doing well. So like from a management perspective, I would say, yeah, you want to see who's performing, what's working, and then try to, you know, train up the rest of your drivers to do what they're doing. And then the route tracking feature is really, that's a big one for figuring out, okay, you know, we don't want to duplicate our efforts anywhere. You go to this neighborhood, you go here. So you can really kind of, you know, quarterback all of it from the technology like that. Yeah.
Well, this is great, Matt. I'm really looking forward to you building a team for us in 2021.
And paying them.
Yeah, this is really exciting. I can't believe you volunteered to do it, and we're really happy that you're going to head it up for us. So
I'm here to help you guys. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Everyone listening heard it, so Matt is on board.
We're gonna have to put some.
Yikes! You'll run that down.
I'm thinking 5 to 10 drivers to start should be good.
I think that'll work.
Yeah.
Well, let's get the whole city driving for you. Yeah,
no worries.
I'm in town. That helps. But yeah, man, I think like 2021. I agree. You're gonna really have to step up your game on finding leads because there isn't much out there. You know that's on the market, and when they are, it's extremely competitive. So being able to do things like outsourcing to drive it, have a team, or automated so you're sending them postcards all the time, or just saving time in any way you possibly can to get that lead number up per month that you're doing. That's going to set you up for success next year.
I love it.
Sweet. Well, guys, I think that's a pretty good way to end it. I think we talked about 2021. We know that we're going to have to up our game in marketing because it's still a pretty competitive market. So yeah, building out a team is probably the way to go as far as working with Deal Machine in particular. So we always know that building our own list is better than, you know, just the ones that everybody can buy. And Deal Machine is allowing us to do that with the deal finders. So that really is some pretty good advice.
Yeah. And make sure if you guys do any kind of trial or anything like that, make sure to go through your link, just because then they'll get hooked up with what, you know, deal credits and free stuff that they wouldn't get otherwise. But feel free to use just Matt at Deal Machine is my email, and matt@dealmachine.com. Feel free to use me as a resource if you're looking for help on you know, hiring a driving team and things like that. I can point you in the right direction internally to help you get coached up on how to do that. So.
Hey, I love it.
Sweet.
I love it. That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll throw a link in the show notes and all that. And yeah, Matt, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you coming on again. We look forward to chatting with you again.
Always.
Once you've got a couple of those drivers on our team for us.
I'll get to work. All right. Thanks,
good,
guys.
man.
That's right. Hey, guys, don't forget to go download Deal Machine. You get a 7-day free trial. And, Matt, how many free skip traces are you guys giving out right now with the use of our coupon code?
I believe it's $15 worth, which would be basically 100 free skip traces.
A little over 100, actually. Yeah,
it's 100 free skip. So it's 100 free conversations, basically.
I love that. That is awesome, guys.
Good.
Use code podcast, PODCAST. That's pretty easy to remember. Use code podcast. You are going to get a 7-day free trial and 100 free skip traces. That is a deal. I love it.
There we go. Make it easy for you to take action and get out there and you know, make things happen.
That's what's up. Hey, Matt, thanks for coming on today. As always, we appreciate your time. We're grateful for you, my friend. We're grateful for the ability to have Deal Machine app at our fingertips to help us, you know, drive home more and more deals every single week. And that's it. That's all I got, man. I'm a loss of words today.
I love it. Let's build a team, man. Let's build a team. Thanks so much, Matt.
All right, Matt. Thanks, buddy. Have a great day, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support. And remember, you make your money when you buy, you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.